Hi and welcome back to the All-American Atlas channel. Today we're discovering the USA's most fascinating ghost towns. I cannot promise ghosts, but I can promise derelict buildings and incredible stories of the heydays of some of America's most famous abandoned towns and an interesting deep dive into the history of these once thriving areas. Kicking off our list is Bod, California, one of the best preserved ghost towns in the United States. Bod was founded in 1859 after prospector W.S. Bod discovered gold in the nearby hills. The town exploded in size in 1876 when the Standard Company struck a rich vein of gold ore, transforming Bod from a small camp to a booming gold rush town. By 1880, Bod's population had surged to nearly 10,000 people, making it one of the most vibrant communities in the region. At its peak, Bod had over 2,000 buildings, including dozens of saloons, a red light district, and even a Chinatown with its own temple. The town was notorious for its lawlessness, with daily reports of stagecoach robberies, shootouts, and saloon brawls. In fact, the phrase "bad man from Bod" became synonymous with the town's reputation for violence and vice. However, Bod's success was short-lived. By the late 1880s, the gold began to dwindle and the town's population started to decline. Several fires also ravaged Bod, further hastening its demise. By the early 20th century, Bod was mostly abandoned, with only a few residents remaining to protect the remaining assets of the mining companies. Today, Bod is preserved in a state of what's known as arrested decay, with over 100 structures still standing. The town's eerie streets and empty buildings offer a haunting glimpse into the past. Visitors can actually explore the old church, the schoolhouse, and even peek inside homes and businesses that were left exactly as they were when the residents departed. And if you're into ghost stories, you'll be happy to know that Bod is said to be haunted by the spirits of former residents, with reports of ghostly apparitions, mysterious lights, and unexplained noises echoing throughout the night. Next up is Centralia, Pennsylvania, a ghost town with a truly bizarre and tragic history. Centralia was founded in 1866 as a coal mining town nestled in a region of eastern Pennsylvania. For nearly a century, it was a bustling community with a population of around 1,500 residents. The town had schools, churches, businesses, homes, everything you could need, and the local economy thrived on the coal mining industry. But everything changed in May of 1962, when a fire broke out in a landfill near an abandoned strip mine on the edge of town. The fire accidentally ignited an underground coal seam, and what seemed like a minor problem at first soon escalated into a catastrophic disaster. The fire spread rapidly through the coal tunnels beneath the town, creating a network of burning coal veins that could not be extinguished. As the fire continued to burn, the grounds beneath Centralia started to heat up. Residents noticed smoke and noxious gases seeping out of the cracks in the ground, and some areas of the town became soon uninhabitable due to the high levels of carbon monoxide. Over the years, the fire caused the ground to become unstable, with sinkholes opening up with little warning. In one infamous incident in 1981, a 12-year-old boy nearly fell into a sinkhole that suddenly appeared in his backyard, which was over 100 feet deep. By the 1980s, the federal government declared Centralia unsafe, and most of the town's residents were relocated. Nearly all of the buildings were demolished, and only a handful of stubborn residents remained, refusing to leave their homes despite the dangers. Today, only a few buildings and the town cemetery remain, surrounded by empty streets that are now overtaken by vegetation. The underground fire is still burning to this day, and experts estimate it could continue for another 250 years. Heading west to Nevada, we find Rhyolite, a town that embodies the boom and bust spirit of the American West. Rhyolite was founded in 1904 after prospectors discovered rich deposits of gold in the surrounding hills. Where have we heard this before? The town was named after the local volcanic rock, rhyolite, and it quickly attracted miners, entrepreneurs, and fortune seekers from all over the country. Rhyolite's growth was fast. Within just a few years, the town's population swelled to nearly 5,000 people, and it became one of the most prosperous mining towns in the region. The town boasted really modern amenities for its time, including electric lights, water mains, and even a telephone system. Rhyolite had a 2-story school, several churches, a hospital, an opera house, a stock exchange, and a train station that connected the town to other major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. One of Rhyolite's most famous landmarks is the Bottle House, which is a unique structure built entirely from discarded glass bottles. The house was constructed by Tom Kelly, a local prospector, in 1906 using over 50,000 bottles, mostly from nearby saloons. The Bottle House still stands today and is a popular attraction for visitors. But Rhyolite's prosperity was short-lived. The financial panic of 1907 hit the town hard, causing investors to pull out and mines to close. By 1910, the town's population had dwindled to just a few hundred, and by 1916, the post office closed. This marked the official end of Rhyolite as a functioning town. Today, Rhyolite is actually one of the most photographed ghost towns in Nevada. The ruins of the town's grand buildings, including the crumbling bank and the old train depot, stand as reminders of the town's brief but incredible rise and fall. Number 4 on our list is Jerome, Arizona. Jerome is a ghost town with a unique twist. While it was once a bustling mining town, it never completely died out, and it has since reinvented itself as a vibrant artist community. Jerome was founded in 1876 on Cleopatra Hill. Here, they discovered large deposits of copper, which again brings everyone to town. The town was named after a man named Eugene Jerome, who provided funding for the United Copper Company. During its heyday, Jerome was a rough and tumble mining town with a population of over 15,000 by the early 20th century. The town was a major producer of copper, as you would expect, and the mines created an amazing amount of wealth for their owners. However, Jerome also earned a reputation for being the wickedest town in the West, known for its saloons, brothels, and frequent bouts of lawlessness. The town was also built on unstable ground, and the buildings often slid down the hill due to the constant blasting of the mines. Jerome's fortunes began to decline after World War I as the demand for copper decreased and the mines became less profitable. By the 1930s, many of the mines had closed and the town's population dwindled to just a few hundred people. By the 1950s, Jerome was nearly deserted and it did seem destined to become another forgotten ghost town. But Jerome's story doesn't end there. In the 1960s, artists, musicians, and counterculture types began moving into the area and abandoned buildings. They were attracted by the town's quirky charm and scenic beauty. They restored many of the old structures and transformed Jerome into an artist colony and tourist destination. Today, Jerome is a thriving community with galleries, shops, restaurants, and museums. But while Jerome has been revitalized, it hasn't lost its ghostly reputation. Many of the town's old buildings are said to be haunted, particularly the Jerome Grand Hotel, which was once a hospital. Need I say more? Guests and staff members have reported strange occurrences such as doors slamming and footsteps. Is it real? I don't know. You'll have to visit for yourself to find out, but its mix of history and the paranormal makes it an interesting destination. Next on our list is Calico, California, a ghost town that has also been lovingly restored to its former glory. Calico was founded in 1881 during the California Silver Rush, and it quickly became one of the richest silver mining towns in the state. The town was actually named after the colorful calico fabric, which reflected the really colorful hues of the surrounding hills. At its peak, Calico had a population of about 1,200 people and more than 500 active mines. The town produced over $20 million worth of silver ore during its heyday, and it had all of the hallmarks of a thriving mining community that we've talked about, like saloons, hotels, and a schoolhouse. Calico was a rough place to live, though. The harsh desert conditions and high turnover of residents made it relatively unpleasant. The town's boom lasted for about a decade, but by the mid-1890s, silver prices plummeted and the mines began to close. Population quickly dwindled, and by 1904, the town was mostly abandoned. In the 1950s, Walter Knott, the founder of a Knott's Berry Farm, purchased Calico and began restoring the town as a tourist attraction. Knott was passionate about preserving the history of the Old West, and he worked to recreate many of the original buildings using authentic materials. Today, Calico is a state historical landmark, and visitors can explore the town's shops, restaurants, and museums, as well as take guided tours of the old mines. Now let's head deep into the heart of Texas to Terlingua, a ghost town that embodies the spirit of the American frontier as it relates to Texas. Terlingua was once a thriving mercury mining town, or quicksilver as it was known, and it's located near the Rio Grande River and the border with Mexico. The town was established in the late 1800s after the ore from which mercury is extracted was discovered in the area. Terlingua grew rapidly in the early 1900s, with several mining companies setting up operations to extract the valuable mercury, and at its peak, this town had over 2,000 residents. The harsh desert environment, however, made life in Terlingua really not that great. Temperatures soared in the summer and water was scarce, making the town a really tough place to live and work. Despite these challenges, Terlingua flourished for a few decades, largely due to the demand for mercury during World War I in the early 20th century. However, as the demand for mercury declined and cheaper sources of mercury were found elsewhere, the town's population began to dwindle. By the 1950s, most of the mines had closed, and Terlingua became a ghost town with only a few hardy souls remaining. In the 1960s, Terlingua began to attract a new kind of resident, you guessed it, artists, adventurers, and those seeking solitude in the vast expanse of the Texas desert. The town became famous for the annual Terlingua Chili Cook-Off, a quirky event that draws thousands of people each year, and it's grown into a major festival with music, dancing, and plenty of chili, which is a real plot twist in this ghost town's history. Today, Terlingua is a unique blend of ghost town and living community. The ruins of the old buildings and mining structures still stand, but they provide a stark contrast to the vibrant life of the cook-off and people who live in this area today. The town is also a gateway to Big Bend National Park, so it's a popular destination for hikers, campers, and nature lovers. Now that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.